I'm gonna have her raise her head here. And I always want this towel to be directly, one more time, directly underneath the base of the hair here. If it's too low, it's not gonna make it all the way up. And if it's too high, too much of the hair will be exposed. So I'm gonna straighten out the towel, and I'm gonna take one hand and pull back her hair and then use it to hold this tight, and then do the same thing with the other side. And then this hand will stay here to anchor it. Twisting and tucking is gonna get it very tight. Then I take my 2 index fingers and just brush down to make sure that the ears are not tucked in. At this point, you can take a first glimpse at your client's skin and see if there's anything that is concerns to you. And you'd also do the consultation to decide what you're gonna do for that facial that day. So I'm gonna start the service by taking out one warm towel, and you always want to lightly air it out, testing the temperature on your wrist. And then I'm gonna bring it across the client and then onto the client's chest to the neck and folding down. At this point, you can grab a little bit more of the essential oil, essential lavender oil, and I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put it across the towel. Grabbing the 2 corners up to the lip, back to the ear, and then up and over. Now, because she has the lashes on, I'm not covering that area, and I'm gonna adjust the towel by going like that. We're gonna ask our client to take a few deep breaths through your nose. So what I'm doing is light cupping pressure. So it's not downward. You don't want to push down on your client's face. You want to, what I call, embracing. Yeah. So now I'm going to open the towel up, and starting from the center of her forehead, wiping outward, bouncing the towel outward. So this is just the first initial wipe down. This is to get the skin hydrated for when I start my first cleanse. The skin has already soaked up a little bit of moisture, and my cleanser is not going to completely just absorb into her skin. So I just got 4 pumps of pre-cleanse, and you can see it's in my hands here. So I'm getting my pumps of cleanser, and I'm going to take it in a spreading motion across the chest. Just a few times. This is just the spreading motion. So I'm not starting the cleanse, I'm moving the product up the base. So I'm moving the product up the face, doing the circles around the eyes to make sure that's fully coated across the lip, under the lip, across the sides of the face, under the chin. And I can feel that she's fully covered now with pre-cleanse, and that I shouldn't have to go back for more product. So this is when I'm going to start the pre-cleanse. And we start by doing just a few back and forth strokes from shoulder to shoulder, and each hand is mirroring the last one, so I'm just kind of following the last hand. You can count to 8 if you want, so doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're going to move up now to her neck area. I'm not putting heavy pressure on this area here because that would be uncomfortable. And I'm cleansing the neck, but my hand is also extending to this area and this area. So I'm taking advantage of my hand space, meaning that I'm not just taking these fingers here and going like this. I'm really using my whole hand to get as much work done as I can. And now I'm going to roll over to one side of her neck. Now with just these fingers, I'm going to do rolling motions from the base of the neck up to the jawline, and I'm going to do those counts of 8 again. and then just moving one over. So you can see that I'm doing light strokes here, and I took the opportunity to also get the underneath of the chin area and do rolling motions across and over the chin. This area is uncomfortable to press on the windpipe here, so I kind of skip that area a little bit. And we're gonna roll now to the other side. So the pre-cleanse is a water soluble oil. So right now it feels oily, but if I add water to it, it will emulsify. If somebody has acne or really oily skin, I'll use water on the skin before I use the warm towel. So now what I'm gonna do is I did across the neck area, and now I'm gonna start on the facial area. So I'm gonna start at the jawline and then just basically repeating that pattern of the upward stroke. My right hand has constant pressure on the skin, almost doing circles, and my left hand is doing the upward strokes on the skin. This would be like what I would call like a transition move. So I'm going from here, and rather than just going straight to here, I'm taking my time to do a few more strokes on this area here. The pre-cleanse process is going to be about 3 minutes. The downward circles that I'm doing right now is really good for congested areas. And with the pre-cleanse, you can actually feel the oil and congestion kind of start to roll out of the skin. When you're working on smaller areas, you can see that I get these fingers out of the way. And then you're going to see that again in a second when I come up towards the sides of the nose. I call this a thumb lock, where your thumbs are locked together. It's giving the stability to your middle finger here as it's rubbing along the sides of the nose without collapsing her breathing passages. So from here, I'm gonna transition my hands into like what I would then call later like a prayer move, but that's more of massage. But I'm gonna go hands together and then bringing them onto the forehead and doing the roll patting across the top of the nose onto the forehead. And I'm gonna go now onto the temples here. So you can see that to make sure I do a thorough job, I'll always kind of come back to the center and do more there before I go to the other side. And these motions and techniques are similar to things we'll do later in massage, but the cleanse is going to be a little bit faster pace. Okay, so I would be done with the pre-cleanse. So to show you the emulsification of that pre-cleanse, I'm going to get some water out of my bowl that I prepped, put some water in my hands, taking the water under the client's face and then onto the face and not over, because you don't want to drip. So you see, as soon as I added that water, it turns that milky color. And that's the water encapsulating the product. So the water is pulling that oil off the skin. So if you really wanted to get a deeper clean without that product in the way, you can add just a little bit of water first.